Hello, here we are. My name is Cris Duncan, a master on the Arcanum. We're here for William Alexander's level 10 feedback session. He submitted 5 images, moving right up. So about to exit sphere 1. That's exciting. And so I want to welcome William, and we're also joined by Joshua Payne, who's another member of our cohort. And maybe some people will come in and out throughout the evening, but we're going to go ahead and get started on these images. So William, before we look at these, is there anything you want to add or preface or anything?
No, let's just get into it.
Okay.
See.
Very good. So let me find them here. Be a good idea. I thought I had them and now they're gone. So that's what happens when it's live, right?
Yeah. And I
Apparently.
can't share my screen off my phone. Otherwise, I could pull them up.
Yeah, I'll get them. Well, never mind. I have them in. I've already downloaded them. What am I doing? Okay, so now we'll screen share, and I'll just take you to Photoshop. I've already downloaded them. And I can hit full screen, maybe. There you go. Is that working?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay. Of course, I can't cycle through, so that didn't help me. Oh, well, let's just start here. Tell me about this one.
Well, it was, I just kind of went out exploring under the bridge. Just looking for leading lines and kind of playing with, you know, really hitting the sunny 16, so to say, and trying to get the information in the darks where I could bring it up. And I mean, that was just kind of the intent, and that was just sitting on, you know, basically right on the edge of shore with my fisheye lens, and just looked like a cool shot.
Yeah. Did you do a fisheye because you were fishing?
No, I did a fisheye because I trying to get the big view. I'm not. I don't like sitting around doing nothing that much. I'm not a big fisherman.
Okay. And this one, just kind of give us a little bit of your intent, and then we'll go back through them.
Okay. Well, this one I was trying to capture the takeoff of the plane for the air show. Was just trying to kind of get it framed and in track and just get a nice clean spot on shot. And I happened to get the guy in the way. I kind of like it, but it's probably not the way it should be. So, but that was kind of my intent. I had been following it down. You know, there were other planes in the way, and this was like the first opportunity I had to actually grab the shot after a whole bunch of blocks.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just, you know, kind of a fine arts abstract. That was my intent right from the get-go. I did it with the fisheye lens, got in real close, tried to line up the holes, create symmetry. And
what is this?
Well, it kind of goes like this. You remember the movie Firefox with Clint Eastwood back in the 80s? You ever watch that?
Remind me.
Russian where he steals the latest Russian MiG. It's all super powered, you know, it's all voice command and all that. And that, well, if you haven't seen it doesn't work, but it just, because this basically what this is a rocket launcher off of a Hind helicopter.
Okay.
Soviet Hind helicopter. and that's why I titled it Rocketta. That was part of what Clint Eastwood used to fire the rockets at the Soviets who were chasing after him in the stolen MiG.
Okay. Very cool.
This was my original intent was to catch two. There was two bridges that like swept away from me, arced away from each other, kind of like in a heart shape, or all sorts of different abstract that caught my attention. This was right after my system crashed after trying to update Windows 10. So this is like right out in front of Fry's, north side of Dallas. I drove by getting a new hard drive and Windows 10. And I saw this and I just went back and I spent a half hour, 45 minutes meandering around looking for cool, not looking for cool things, but looking for leading lines and that sort of thing. And the three columns kind of stood out as an interesting subject, and I snapped the shot. This is like 3:30 in the afternoon, full of traffic.
You don't see it though. That's cool.
No. We'll get to that. Same outing. I've been watching the building. I actually watched them build the building here over the last year to 9 months, and things were hitting real good with my settings, and I just figured I'd try frame a shot through the bridge, openings and overpass, and all of that, and it turned out rather well.
Yeah. Cool deal. All right. So let's we can just start with this one. You mentioned that you were working with leading lines and Sunny 16 and some of those techniques. And first of all, I think you nailed the exposure. Sunny 16 typically works. So you did a nice job finding that range to hold your detail in the sky and still get nice shadow detail underneath that bridge where we can see all of that, the barnacles and stuff growing on them. And
I had, obviously I had to work it. I mean, it didn't just come out straight like that. I had to bring quite a bit up in Photoshop, but the information was there in the dark. So I was really, really happy. I mean, I was going predominantly to get the good sky. And it just, everything fell into place. There was enough range in the dynamic range, enough data in the bottom. It brought up real nice, real clean, not a lot of noise. I mean, it's all about the settings.
Yeah, well, even if you had to open the shadows or the blacks, you still had a good exposure to maintain that information, like you said. So that was handled well. Yeah. I like your composition of it. I like having a little bit of the foreground in the front that gives us a base. I think without that, it'd look a little weird. So it's nice to have that base of where this, the bridge starts on the landmass and goes out. You can see a little bit on the left. It's holding these. Anyway, exposure stuff's really good. I think your composition's come a long way since you've joined the group. I know that's some stuff we've really talked about. Was your composition and your exposure, and this one shows that you have lots of improvement. One thing a couple things I see on this that I think could improve it, where your horizon's really right in the center, and that can be an okay thing. A lot of times with reflections, you'll hear people say, put the horizon in the middle with the reflection so you get a balance. I'm feeling that it's really just dividing the right side of the photograph. That horizon's almost cutting into that bridge, and then it's coming right across the top of that tree. And I just feel like I have two divided images that aren't a pure reflection. So there's some tension there that I have a trouble resolving.
Okay, because it cuts into the lower part of the tree. The tree isn't, it ends up that you have a pure reflection it's kind of everything's like divided up into into 4 quadrants.
Yes.
On the left-hand side, you have a perfect mirrored reflection. And then on the right-hand side, you have a perfect mirrored reflection. However, you have the tree that is not reflected on the bottom, and it creates some conflict.
Yes. So I don't know if just cropping something cropping off the top or the bottom might help that. I find that the parking sign is interesting because obviously there's no place to pull off and park, and that's why they say emergency only. Or I don't know if that's for the emergency vehicles to park after people jump off the bridge. So
well, we had our yearly death on Ray Hubbard somewhere else. So somebody drowns every year.
what a shame.
But the sign, I just left it in there because I thought it was ironic, although it is kind of an eye bugger. It's an eye catch that would not a broad appeal kind of thing.
Right. So yeah, and I'm not sure cropping it the way it is, because if we do this, we lose the base, and I think, man, that's kind of interesting. Makes the bridge look a little bit longer to me without the landmass there. So, but regardless of things that cause tension or not, you did a great job. I really like the left-hand side. I mean, that symmetry there, I think, is really cool. So maybe something like that might be, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just playing. I'm not trying to nitpick on you or anything, but.
No. I have nothing against the fine little details like that. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I'm looking for different. I'm open to different ideas and in different viewpoints, because it all in the end becomes just different ways to use the tools that are available.
Right.
I mean, we could even open it up a little more to the right, and I could go in and do some cloning and stuff to kind of open it up so it doesn't feel quite so tight against the bridge, to kind of keep that mirror thing, but get rid of a little bit of the tree that's hanging down in there in the reflection area.
I wonder how well Photoshop's content-aware cropping would work. Have you seen this?
I have. Oh, hey.
Yeah, so if you have the new CC 2015.5, you go to the crop tool in the top, it says content aware. And so then when you crop outside the image, the program is going to look for stuff to fill it with. And so it duplicated your tree. I mean, obviously you can see it. It didn't do an outstanding job, but
it didn't do a seamless job, but it would be possible to go back in and touch, just use a clone tool and go through and just start filling the repeats in and
right,
grabbing from different areas.
So yeah,
although that is quite a bit.
it's pretty amazing how well it works. So if we do on the top, see, jacked up your bridge a little bit. Anyway, that's some fun stuff to play with. So yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's just tight. Maybe I just feel tight with the tree and the bridge. But regardless, much improvement over your first critique and some of the images you submitted when you joined. So it's great to see improvement. Your color saturation, everything looks well, and that all starts with a good exposure. So nice job. This one I really like too. Man, you get in there, and I think you did an outstanding job of picking your shutter speed. To show a little blur on the propeller, I think that's great. I think if it's frozen still, it looks weird, so I like that little blur. I'd even be happy with a little more blur on the propeller. God, your exposure again is really good, William, holding the detail in the whites and reading that text and getting through that glass. Did a nice job holding this together. You mentioned you like the guy in the front. I felt like the guy was a distracting element. I felt like the tractor trailers were a distracting element. I appreciate where it is in the frame, that it has an area at least to fly to go to. So, and I don't shoot many aircraft. I've been to a few air shows, and I know they're tough to do. I do know that. So I like its placement in the frame. I really wish its wheels were, this is getting just super picky. I wish its wheels were up, so then you could do an extraction and you could put it into a sky and it look, because most people when they photograph planes, you just see the bottom of them because they're on the ground. So getting this one on the ground would be if his wheels were all the way up, that'd have been so awesome then you could extract it and create a really cool piece where it looks like you were in an aircraft next to him photographing him. So it could still be done now. It'd just take a lot more work to do that. But
yeah, I wish I was on my computer, because I'd have quite a number of really decent shots, maybe not this close in, but where the plane's in the 50 to 60%, 50 to 60% width on the frame.
Yeah.
I was curious about. It was, I knew the plane itself was a decent capture, but I was just, I needed to hear that all the background noise and stuff really didn't do it service, other than just having, that being the only time I could capture that particular shot.
Yeah. And sometimes that's what it is, and a lot of it comes down to the purpose of the photograph. Is this just you just wanting to, you enjoy the air shows and the aircraft and you want to get some images to remember that? And man, you did a great job. I mean, you can see the smoke, and the plane, like I said, is super sharp, and your exposure spot on. Your shutter speed was perfect for that. If you go to one of these again, maybe sit on the ground and don't stand. Especially if you're trying to get a low approach to take off and a landing.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have taken the trucks out a little bit. At least it would have separated the plane from them if you were a little bit lower. The trucks would have still been there, but then the plane would have been above them. Or of course, if you can find a section of the show that doesn't have a distracting background, and then you wait for a plane to come through the scene. So
that's not going to happen here. I mean, that is basically an iron, or they do steel buildings, and Madex people, you make the retail fixture displays, runs across the entire length of the airfield.
Nice. So yeah, but that's a cool image and a cool plane.
I got it taken off with the wheels going up. I thought that was cool.
I like the wheels going up. I think that's great. I think that's cool.
I mean,
good thing about that is you can tell that it was a takeoff, that it wasn't a low approach or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see part of that action with the wheels going up. So all of that's there. All of that good details there. His little antennas whip back. Very cool. So, I mean, in post, if you wanted to isolate the plane, there's some techniques that would be complicated, and some that'd be a little bit easier to do that. And that would just be a personal decision on you. But as far as where he is in the frame, your exposure, your sharpness, all that's is handled really well.
Okay.
And this one's just cool. It's very abstract. To me, I was thinking it was like, to me, it looks like a supersized communion dish that you put all the little cups in. And they, I think this is neat. I mean, showing the depth and the layers of each one of those steel rings through there with the cylinders going all the way back into the aircraft where you see daylight again. I think I mean, abstract is right. That's really cool. You did an outstanding job of getting a great depth of field where, it's all sharp. I can see these numbers and I can see, looks like rifling. I don't know if that's the right term, but almost rifling in the back of these cylinders. All that grime and rust on it. So that's not an easy shot to get, especially with handheld, if you handheld it or not. But
handheld, I crawled up inside, the hood does actually stick out. There's a hood around it or casing around or whatever. It does actually stick out pretty far. So I mean, I had to crawl up inside of there and wait for everybody to get out of the way on the ground. And
yeah.
But yeah, no. There was some cloning and stuff to create the symmetry in there, because off to the right hand side there was the actual helicopter body hangs down, and
I see it right here. Yep.
So there's just a little bit on the right where it kind of plated over and filled it in and that sort of thing.
So no, I think this is cool. I tried flipping it to see if that did anything, but I don't know if I liked it that way. I thought that curve would create like an element, but I think I like it the way you presented it.
Yeah, I spun it. I did full, a full, counterclockwise or clockwise rotation when I was looking at it, trying to do it, and this just ended up making the most sense. It just felt the best.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see this with a little more snap, whether that's clarity or, a topaz adjust filter or detail extractor from the Nix suite, or just to, I guess, crunch up that metal a little bit, and then a black and white treatment. I think this would look outstanding as a black and white treatment.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
to bring out the basically bring out the detail, the grunge and the imperfections, and
yeah. Do you have the Nix?
Make it that crunchy.
You have the Nix suite?
Yeah.
Silver Effects Pro 2 and Color Effects,
yeah.
and
yes.
So I think if we put this in Silver Effects,
yeah, especially with the
and play with your, you have that highlight brightness, so you can bring that up and then bring your shadows down. Amplify whites, amplify blacks. And then when you get to structure, I think your midtone structure could go high and your shadow structure could go high. And then we get a lot of that up in here. We get a lot of that detail. I'm not saying this is, and then I think it would really serve from a vignette, these white edges. So I think
it has a white vignette put on it.
Oh, it does. Yeah. I would get rid of the white vignette.
And go dark?
I would go darker. I think I know why you did it, because it kind of mirror images this, kind of adds some symmetry. But to me, I think it makes it look soft up there.
Okay.
Personally. So, and this, black and white would take a little more mixing than that, but I think pulling out some of that crunch, personally, that's a look I like. So, yeah, but I feel like your reverse vignette really softened this area.
I get where you're. Yes, it does. Now that you bring that out, yeah, it does. I kind of, to me, it was like trying to focus the attention on the center on the round.
Yes.
And when I put black around it, it just something. I may have been a little heavy-handed when I did it, and it just something about the whoop-de-doo on the bottom of the light that scroll through, just something changed that I didn't like. Not saying that it was a correct dislike.
Yeah. Well, you do have.
It was just.
Yeah, that vignette does kind of give you that same shape that you have on the bottom. I can see that, and I can see probably why you pulled it that way. I don't know that.
Yeah, it seemed to have a better balance, but I think after going with the black and white in the especially because now it's and I'm looking at it on my phone, so I'm this thing I'm back where it looks like it's about an inch and a half wide, but it seems like round the plane out that the holes, and it gives it some depth in that, and then now with the black all the way around, it becomes very pronounced.
Yes.
That you have the dark rim around the outside that comes into the lighter center, and it's kind of like it's almost dome. It almost gives you a dome-like feel to it where it's not there.
Yeah. So this is a very cool image. Nice abstract. Well done. I love seeing all the way through it. I think that's fantastic. And another abstract, I think I want to commend you on this one. Actually, in the last one too. And it's one of the things I talk about to my students, and we've mentioned in this group is, anybody can take an ordinary image of something extraordinary. The pyramids, the Statue of Liberty, the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, a lot of people can get a good image of that, but not many people can get extraordinary images of something ordinary, like an overpass or an underpass or a highway. And so this is something that millions of people drive by every week or maybe even a day, and they don't see the design and the shape and the symmetry and the abstract and the flow in it. And so I have to commend you for just having an awareness in your mind to see it and look at it from a different standpoint than just a means from getting from A to B. I mean, because there's so many great design elements in here, and even when we break it down, I think you did a nice job with your tangents, that I can see depth on all these different columns, that they don't overlap each other. Same over here. Even where the roads overlap, I know it keeps going because of these columns. You even did that way back here. And so, and this to me gives me it reminds me of the Trinity. You see those old silhouettes around Easter time with the three crosses, and of course the middle one's always pronounced when Jesus was on. And so I think that, maybe a title would play to that, but that's kind of what I saw from that, and kind of what I got out of that. Whether it's correct or not correct, or that was your intention or not, that was.
Well, my intention was just basically it was the rule of threes, and they were all kind of they all had the same light on and the same color, and they just jumped. Kind of popped out when I got up in underneath here and got across the service road without dying.
Yeah.
It just kind of jumped out, and of course, there was a lot of work done in Lightroom and Photoshop, but that was the essence of it. I had three. The subject was the three columns, and they were similar but dissimilar, and it just the more I looked at it, the more it played out that this is really, really cool, and it's definitely worth going in and making cars and stuff disappear, even though I did leave that one little truck in the center.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a trick, and I'll save you some time. If you cloned out cars on this, you did a heck of a job.
Yes. I really, like I said, I wish I had. I can post it up in the.
I can see a little evidence right here where you did.
Yeah, that's probably.
I know you're on your phone.
Well, you go off to the left. That space, that open frame. Right. No, to the right of the big column, right at the bottom. to the right.
Yeah,
Excuse me, right there,
right
right there.
there.
I mean, that area in there, just if you zoom in real close, you can see you can start picking out the repeats because there wasn't a lot to work with.
Yeah. So, and if you're going to do that, go ahead and take out your highline wires all the way. If you're going to go through that
Oh,
much.
are they still in there? No
Yeah.
way.
So,
Okay, then that was it from a zooming out versus zooming in, and then a
right.
little bit of changing through the going through the process Photoshop into Lightroom out onto the web. That area must have the brightness values, just because it was cloned out, must have jumped.
Right.
Because I was fastidious about making sure they couldn't be seen. I mean, I zoom in, zoom out. I do a lot of things to make sure that it can't be seen.
Well, you did a good job on disguising that. I was surprised you got it this clean. So I didn't even suspect you took out the cars. Now that you say it, I can see evidence of that, but I didn't suspect it at first. But next time you want to photograph something like this, take your tripod and take a neutral density filter and do about a 3 or 4 second exposure, and just blur your cars out.
Yep.
And
yeah, I thought of that when I was going through and cleaning it all up, going, yeah, I guess you could have done that.
So, or you can do a tripod and take about 30 exposures and then layer them on top, and
right.
and then brush in your clean areas that don't have a car in front.
Yep.
So, but either way, I would try it with the neutral density first and see, and just look on the back of your camera to see if you're getting any hazing or ghosting. Obviously, if they have headlights on, that's going to be an issue and stuff like that. But very cool image. I really enjoy this one a lot. I think this is very, very nice.
Cool.
And then we have this one. When I saw the Allstate building, I noticed did you flip it?
Yes.
Yeah, because the word on the building's backwards. You can't see it on your phone, but when you posted this in the group and said it was the Allstate building, I said, he flipped it because I can see that Allstate's backwards. That's okay.
Well, I can go in there and make it, if it's a big issue, I can go in there and flip it around.
Well, and it's backwards, and it's backwards on your little trash receptacle at the bottom too. But regardless, I think flipping it was the right move, because design and composition wise, I think it reads better this way. Coming in this way, I think it frames it really nice. I really appreciate your verticals are nice and straight and strong. I don't know if you had to do any perspective correction on that, but I know we've talked about doing that, and that was nice. I think this is another one that might benefit from black and white, and playing with that blue channel to get some nice highlight on those windows on the right hand side, and then trying to bring down that sky a little bit, because I love the repetitive lines here. We've got these almost, I guess, let's call it pinstriping for lack of a better word. We have this pinstriping kind of here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we almost have pinstriping here in the building, and of course on the sides. And so when you look at it, we have a lot of those nice elements, vertical, vertical, vertical. So composition.
And we also have the shadows casting across on the columns, and then the shadows casting across on the off to the left, right, center, where they cast off, where you can see them cutting down.
Yep.
Each square cutting down. That was
So
just there's just a whole bunch of things that I really thought were cool.
Yeah, and
very architectural.
Yeah, and once again, it's an ordinary object that I think you took a really, nice image of. That's unique perspective. It's designed well. You saw the light play on it to create different depth and elements. I think these shadows are huge, because without these shadows, you would never know that these things project outward from the building. So I'm guessing they're little patios or something there to produce that. So I think that's handled really, really well. So without those shadows there, this building has a completely different look. So well done. Well done. Could maybe tone this down and maybe this one. If there's any chance of toning those down a little bit, I think that would help a little bit. This one doesn't bother me as much because it's inside the frame. This one really catches my eye on the left.
Okay. Yeah, I see that now.
So maybe a crop. This one almost supports the element, but even that crop, I think we still have the light here that pulls us in. But when it's way out there, it really makes it heavy on the left-hand side. So, but nice job, William. Well done for sure.
Thank you.
I'd have to say this is probably my favorite that you did, or this one. These are probably my two favorites. And then I would rank this one, and these two would be bringing up the rear. As far as my favorites, that's just, exposure wise and some of the compositional stuff we've talked about, you hit that on the head. And that was kind of your challenge, was to come up with images that was a central theme of them. We talked about that in your first hangout, is how you had a good eye. It just needed a little bit of tweaking to really get those design elements working together and composition flowing and keeping the viewer in the image. So, man, you've done a great job with that part of the assignment, on the exposure and the leading lines and the design. So, and you picked some great subjects, some relatively ordinary subjects, and made them really compelling. So congratulations on that. This was fun. To kind of makes me want to go. We don't have highways in Lubbock, Texas, but it kind of makes me want to.
Oh, well, you got highways. You just don't have anything the big tall mix masters like we do here in Dallas. And
right. Nothing.
Yeah, I've been in Lubbock in February during the ice storms, where our trailer got froze up at the mall for 2 days, and
yeah. So we have some of that stuff, but not quite to that level. So very cool. And I see Susan joined in while we were talking. Her microphone and camera are off, so I don't know what that means.
I'm baking cookies for my son's pumpkin fair.
Oh, nice.
So I made it.
Well, I'm glad you're here. So how's your shoulder doing?
It's getting better. My range of motion's coming back.
Very good. Very good. So I was thinking, I can't believe it's been a year since we actually met in person at the
I know, I was just thinking about that too, because the Photo Plus Expo is this week.
Yes, and I was there last year, so that was fun.
I guess Devin's there right now.
Yes, that's what he posted. I guess he said PPNY. I guess that's Professional Photographers of New York, I would assume.
Yeah, I think they're one of the co-sponsors or something of the event.
Okay, very cool. Good for him. Maybe he'll make some great contacts. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's a big trade show for sure.
Absolutely. So, do you or Josh or William have any additional comments on what we saw tonight?
I just noticed a huge improvement from the last time he posted photos for critique. So you're clearly taking the feedback and actually applying it and improving really quickly. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I think I commented on the photos that I loved that you were looking for ways of framing these architectural elements. And I thought that was sort of an interesting viewpoint that seems to carry through all of your images.
Yes. So You had a feedback session with an apprentice before you met with me and narrowed down your images, right, William?
Well, I posted up and took feedback. I think is how that.
So how many did you eliminate from the?
Well, let's see. I think I had that was 8. I posted like 12. And yeah.
Okay. So, well, I might go back and look at refresh myself on the other ones that were in there the first time. I try not to look at those so I don't influence people's decision on what they want to send to me. So, because I want it to be the ones that they want to feedback on, not the ones that I may particularly like or dislike. So, good job. Well, here's the exciting thing. You will graduate Sphere 0 and go to Sphere 1. And for level 11, your next level, if you choose to stay in the group, they will ask you if you want to stay in the group and go to Sphere 1. And if you choose to do that, you will be Master for the week for Sphere 11. So that
I've
means
already done it, even though it wasn't my challenge.
well, yeah, you've got to get there. You're close. Come on. So,
Okay, what does Master for the week mean?
well, Susan had abbreviated Master of the Week. The Master of the Week is you get to, I'll hand the cohort over to you so you can issue challenges. You get to encourage everybody with feedback. And lastly, you get to have a critique with me where I will submit images to you and then you critique my images for me. So,
Oh, that's
you know, here's the great part about this exercise is it's not meant to be intimidating or to give me a pat on the back or anything like that. It's that we're all really good at seeing things in someone else's work that we don't see in ours.
okay.
You know, it's kind of like, man, my wife talks all the time. I can't believe she talks so much. And then you find out you talk too much, you know, and we're always blaming our wife for talking too much.
Hello.
And so it's the same thing with our images is we'll say, man, I really don't like this and I don't like this. And then you look at your image and you never see it because it's yours.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
so, and it's good for me to get a refresher because I know there's stuff out there that are in my images that I just overlook because I'm either focused on this aspect of it or I've looked at it too long or for whatever reason, something is just flown past. So
yeah, you're too close to it. It's that fresh set of eyes thinking.
Absolutely. So, and that's always fun when we get to do that. And we'll do it just like this. We'll record it and let the rest of the group see it. And so you will probably need. I can host that for you if your computer's not working. If you're going to be on your phone, but
well, it's hopefully we'll get this. Hopefully we'll get this fixed. I hear Netflix on in the other room, so it must have
something's working.
Something's working.
Very good. So,
Who
Josh,
knows?
do you
I'll
have
have to figure that out.
Do you have anything to add, Josh?
I really enjoyed the same two, and I think I mentioned that when he originally posted them. So good job, and I agree, and definitely seeing the attention and improvement in composition
And exposure.
Thank you.
Very good.
And exposure. Your exposure was great too, William. I mean, didn't see any areas of concern with detail being blown out, being too bright. Maybe that one column and that one that we mentioned at the end. Shadow detail was good. Good contrast, nice dynamic range. So that was much improved from your previous one as well.
Cool.
So keep up the good work. So.
Well, absolutely. That's why I'm here.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and terminate our live broadcast and appreciate you guys for joining us. Thank you, William, for sharing your great work with us, and we will see you guys in the community.
Thank you.